In this video, I'm going to show you how to build out a feed-only Performance Max campaign. First, we want to hit the plus icon in the top left corner, new campaign, create without a goal, Performance Max. Now we need to choose the correct merchant center to connect to, and we're going to add a conversion goal to this campaign. And we always want to select purchases for our campaigns. Now we're going to hit continue. You can call this whatever you'd like, but I typically will put our company initials, then PMAX, and then I'll put feed only. Now, if you have multiple types of products, we typically see the best results by grouping the type of product together. So we're going to call this backpacks and only put our backpacks in here. For this store, that's all that we sell, but in the case that we sold other types of products, we would group similar products into each Performance Max campaign. We're going to leave it on max conversion value. Next. United States, English. So here's the thing with creating a feed-only Performance Max. Google does not want you to limit where they can spend your money. Therefore, they want you to upload images and videos and text so they can spend on every placement as quickly as possible. So essentially, we are removing control away from Google with this approach. So they do make it difficult to publish this campaign. The best loophole we have found with creating a feed-only Performance Max is touching as little as possible and publishing the campaign as quickly as possible. So essentially what we're going to do, we're going to come back and change other settings later. We're going to hit next, skip. Don't touch a single thing in here. Leave it set to all products. Scroll down, hit next. We'll put a $25 a day budget. Now, as I just mentioned, Google is getting stricter and stricter with publishing feed-only Performance Max campaigns because it wants to spend your money. And this is limiting where it can actually spend your money. We came into an error, and you may too, but we're going to go along with it because this is a real-time video, and this could happen to you. So if Google does not allow you to publish the campaign while leaving the assets empty, we have a couple different options here. First, we're going to go in, and we're actually going to turn this one into our fully built Performance Max. We like to run with both. We see the best results when running with both. So we're going to turn this into our fully built Performance Max, and then I'll show you a really easy way to duplicate that campaign and turn that into a feed-only Performance Max. So we're first going to click into the automatically created assets. We're going to disable this and hit next, skip, then we'll call this asset group just fully built for now. So fully built. So for the URL, we typically have it going to our homepage or collection page, whichever converts better for you. For the copy, we usually use the same copy that we used on our branded search campaign, and it works really well for us. So I'm going to copy and paste that same copy into this ad. So because the description character length is shorter in a Performance Max, we're going to use the same descriptions we use for our branded search campaign as the long headlines. For the description, we're just going to put creative backpacks for creative people. Simple, straightforward. And then we always like to use a call to action for our other option that we give Google. So we're going to say shop this season's deals on Rev Packs backpacks. Now I added the one image that we do have. I suggest doing all 20 images if you have enough images. But right now I added just the one image that we have into the 3 different dimensions that Google requires in order for us to be able to just publish the ad to get it saved. Great, so now we can go back into our campaign and make the additional changes we want to make. So we're going to click inside of our feed-only Performance Max. We're going to go into asset groups. Now we see the asset group that we were working on, so we're going to go back in and make a few more changes. First, we're going to hit Edit Assets. So as we scroll down, we have our images. Again, if you have more images, what we see working best are images with text on top of them, clearly explaining what the product is and any current sales that you're running. If you have videos, what we are finding working best right now are vertical UGC videos. All it needs to be is someone on a phone camera, either unboxing your product or giving a review on your product, talking about the features of your product. We find that real authentic videos are converting much better right now than super highly produced videos. So for site links, we're just going to select the same site links that we used earlier. If you go into Asset Library, we're just looking for the backpack ones, colorful backpacks, one-time sale backpacks. Perfect. Save. We're going to change the call to action button to shop now. And then we're going to add one more asset, the structured snippets, just like we did before. This is the one that we created for backpacks. Save. And we're going to save this ad. Perfect. So now we want to go into listing groups. This is where we select the products that we want to run on the shopping network. We're going to hit the plus icon. It's automatically set to all products, but I like to change this to item ID and then manually select the correct products that I want to run. That way we have a clear picture of the performance of each product. So we have all 20 variants of our backpacks in here now. So we're going to go back to the asset group again. And now we're going to break out the asset groups by audience types. So we're going to start here and we're just going to call this broad. So there's going to be no audience on here at all. A lot of times this audience will perform best. This is giving Google full control to show our shopping ads to whoever it would like. However, every account and product is different, so we like to start with a combination of both broad and targeted audiences. So we're going to hit these three dots and hit duplicate this asset group. You can leave everything in here the same right now. Just hit save. Now we're going to go into the audience signal right here where it says signals. Hit the pencil icon. Now we're seeing just about equal success with using search themes and save audiences. So it's totally up to you which one you want to use. For this video, we're just going to use the search themes. So what we're going to call this, you got to think of search themes as what your ideal customer is searching. So we're going to call this one colorful backpacks and colorful backpack. So we're just going to use those two keywords. We want to have a theme here so we could separate out different audiences and really get to know our customer base. So we're going to hit save. We're going to call this colorful backpacks. Now, one thing to note is that whenever you duplicate each of these asset groups, it does not save the products that you selected. So you have to, each time you have to go into listing groups, hit the plus icon, unless you just want to leave it as all products. But we just prefer to do item ID and then select all of the products and save. So now we're going to go back to asset groups and then we're going to continue. So the three dots, duplicate this asset group. You could scroll down here. We can even rename it in here if we want to. So we'll call this kids backpacks. The products, we're going to change that to item ID, select all of them, save. And this ad should stay exactly how it was. You shouldn't be changing anything in the ad. So we're going to change the keywords here to just say kids backpack and then kids backpacks. We're going to get rid of these other keywords. You can even do backpack for kids. And the rest of it we can leave the same. So save. And then we'll do one more. We'll duplicate this and we'll just do one that's just backpacks. So this is going to be a much broader search. This is literally anybody searching for backpacks. So we're just going to call this backpacks. All products, use selected products. You may only be running a few of your products, so this gives you more control to choose the products that you want to run. We're selecting all of them. Save. So we're just going to say backpacks or backpack. And then hit save. One thing to keep in mind with this approach is you really want to take a step back and think about who your audience is. For example, I had a smartwatch store that really struggled right out of the gate until we started realizing that the majority of our customers were elderly. So we went into some proces and changed the product title from smartwatch to blood pressure smartwatch. We started getting this feedback from our customer support and realizing that most people were buying the smartwatch for blood pressure. So once we changed the product title in some proces to a blood pressure smartwatch so that our product would show up as a blood pressure smartwatch on the shopping network, our sales blew up overnight. In addition to that, we made our audience keywords all based around blood pressure smartwatches. There were terms like blood pressure smartwatch, portable blood pressure monitor, anything along those lines we stacked into these keyword themes. And again, you can use the search themes option, or you can go into your tools and settings and create a saved audience that you can pull into these asset groups. I suggest testing both. So I'm going to show you really quickly here how to create a saved audience that you can pull into an asset group. So we're going to go into tools and settings, then audience manager, then we're going to go into audiences, hit the plus sign. We're just going to call this custom intent. So we're going to put a CI. We're going to call this colorful backpacks. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to put the term searches in here. You'll understand why when I show you how we build these out. So we're going to hit new segment. In this custom segments area, you're going to hit new segment. We're going to select where it says people who searched any of these terms. Now where it says people with any of these interest or purchase intentions, we've had much better success when using people who searched any of these terms. So we're just going to add in colorful backpacks and colorful backpack. And sometimes it'll give you good ideas down here as well. So we're going to press enter. We're going to call this the same thing. It's custom intent audience. Colorful backpacks. And I'm just putting that searches in brackets so I know which one of these that I used. So save. That's it. So we're just going to save this. No additional changes needed. So now that's a saved audience. So we're going to go back into our asset group. We're going to duplicate one of these. So duplicate this asset group. So as we scroll down, we can call this colorful backpacks. You can even put saved audience so you know which one it is, or you can call the other ones themed if you prefer. So you can hit all products, select all products, item ID. We're going to select all the products that we want and save. So we're going to remove these themed keywords and we're going to add a saved audience. So you can search up top and now we're going to select colorful backpacks. So you can see it applied that saved audience that we created in our audience manager. So now we're going to hit save. And it's as simple as that. So now we have two different versions. So this version of colorful backpacks is using a saved audience. So it's technically supposed to stay within those search terms. This version of colorful backpacks is using the themed version. You can even title it themed. So it gives Google more flexibility to find similar search terms and target people within those. At the end of the day, 90% of the targeting really is pulled from all the work that you did in some proces within the product title, the product category, and the product type. But these additional steps help push Google in the right direction. So once you start running ads, the way you'll be able to monitor the progress between each of these is by clicking on the listing groups. And then if you click this arrow here, you can organize by each of the asset groups. So you see this will show you the entire performance for each one of these 5 asset groups. So you have complete clarity on what is giving you the best cost per conversion and what is giving you the best return on your ad spend. So if kids backpacks was performing best for us, we would go in and literally just turn off the other 4 asset groups. And then within this asset group, if you click inside of it, say if after a few weeks of running ads, let's say 5 backpacks are running profitably for us, but the other backpacks are all losing us money. We would simply go in and turn off the other SKUs and would only run the 5 backpacks that are running profitably. Now we're going to double check our campaign settings one last time. So we've titled this, remember it started off as the feed only, but because we had that glitch, we turned this into a fully built out Performance Max campaign. So this is our fully built Performance Max. So with our feed only Performance Max campaigns, we typically run them on max conversion value. When we have a fully built out Performance Max campaign, we typically run them on a target ROAS, because when it is fully built out, it will spend on display network, the search network, YouTube. It will spend on every possible place that Google can spend. And if you run it wide open, it typically will blow through the budget in a matter of minutes. So we like to limit it with a target ROAS to make sure that we have a healthy ROAS. So we'll start this at a 300% target ROAS, which is really just a 3x. So save. For the location, we want to make sure this is on presence. We have this set to English. And then for automatically created assets, we have that disabled. Everything else looks good to go. So this is how to build out a fully built Performance Max campaign. Now I'm going to show you how to take that same campaign, duplicate it, and turn it into a feed-only Performance Max campaign. So we're going to select this campaign. We're going to hit Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. And the main advantage of a feed-only Performance Max campaign is you can bid on max conversion value to ensure you get as high up as possible into the shopping ads to get ahead of your competitors. Whereas if you bid with max conversion value on a fully built out Performance Max campaign, I've never seen them run profitably running on max conversion value. Where with a feed-only Performance Max campaign, you can usually run them wide open on max conversion value to ensure that your brand is always at the top of the shopping ads and still have a very profitable ROAS. So we're going to change this title to feed only. We're going to click inside of this new campaign. We're going to go into asset groups. So all we're going to do is simply turn off each of these asset groups. And then we're going to hit this blue icon, hit new asset group, scroll to the bottom, don't touch anything, and just hit save. Now it only shows you 5 asset groups per page, so if you scroll to the very bottom, you'll see that there's now a 6th one on the next page. So this is now a feed-only asset group, meaning if you go into edit assets, and again, don't touch anything in here, but it is completely empty, meaning it cannot spend on the search network, it cannot spend on the display network, and it cannot spend on YouTube. It can only spend your money. We're going to leave. We're not going to save anything. It can only spend your money on the shopping network. That's why we really like these campaigns. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to call this broad and then feed only. Save. We're going to go into the listing groups. Select all of our products. Item ID. And we're going to create those other asset groups exactly the same way. So the plus icon, new asset group. Don't touch anything. Hit save. So we're still giving these audience signals other than the broad one. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll call this colorful backpacks, themed, and then feed only. So we're going to choose the products again. And again, for you, it may not be all of the products like it is for me. It may just be a few of them. Back into asset groups. Now remember, we have to add those keywords, colorful backpacks and colorful backpack. Into the theme section, colorful backpacks, colorful backpack. Save. Again, blue plus sign. Save. Now, for some reason, it moved it up here. You will find that sometimes when you create a new asset group, it doesn't always put them on the next page. It puts them in random order sometimes. So you just want to look for the newly enabled ones. Those are the asset groups that you just created. So we're going to call this Kids backpacks. I want to say it's feed only. And if you're wondering why didn't I just go into one of these other asset groups and delete all the assets, Google will not allow you to do it. It'll continually have an error and won't allow you to publish the ad. That's why we're having to do this workaround. So we're going to go into the listing groups, item ID, select the products that I want, save. Going back to that same asset group, we're going to go into signals. Remember, we're just swapping out kids, backpacks, kids, backpack, and then backpack for kids. Save. So the only asset group that we haven't recreated as a feed only is the colorful backpacks with the save audience. So we're going to hit the plus icon again, new asset group. Scroll down and hit save. So we're looking for that newly created asset group. Here we go. So we're going to call this the same thing. So colorful backpacks with the saved audience, but we're going to call this feed only. Save. So we're going to go into the listing groups, plus item ID, select the products you want, save. And go back to that same asset group, and we just need to connect that saved audience now. So the saved audience one, so we're going to go into the audience signals. And then under audience signal, we're going to hit add saved audience and then colorful backpacks. Here we go. Selected it, we can see it right here, and we're going to hit save. So now when we scroll through our asset groups, we've disabled all of the fully built out asset groups. Remember, we're running those in the other campaign with a target ROAS. This campaign we're going to run on max conversion value, and we're running 100% of our spend to the shopping network. So as we scroll down, we can see we have the kids backpacks. This is a feed only. Colorful backpacks with the save audience is a feed only. I'm going to go to the next page. I think it was a total of 5. So we have our broad audience with the feed only, the colorful backpacks with the themed version of the keywords with the feed only, and I think that is it. Yeah, so that is essentially how to build out a feed-only Performance Max, or essentially transition a fully built Performance Max into a feed-only Performance Max. Now we're going to go into the campaign settings just to make sure everything looks okay. So we titled this as the feed-only. We're optimizing for purchases. So we want to change the bidding strategy. We want to remove this target ROAS, at least for now, and run it as max conversion value. So there are 2 ways that we run a feed-only Performance Max. One of them is at lower budgets on max conversion value. So essentially, we will run this campaign at a budget of anywhere from $15 to $50 a day on max conversion value, but we will duplicate the campaign a lot of times depending on the budget. We have certain accounts that will spend $5,000 a day in, all with $25 budgets. So it all depends on your budget. If you're only starting off with a $25 a day budget, I would just run this feed-only Performance Max at $20 a day and run your branded search campaign at $5 a day to start. If you are looking to aggressively scale, you want to try 2 things. The first approach would be, like I said, taking your feed-only Performance Max, leave the budget somewhere around $25 a day, and duplicate it as many times as you need in order to scale the budget to what you want it to be. You can duplicate this 10, 20, 30, 50 times until you get to your set budget. Not all of them will perform. On the weeks that certain campaigns perform poorly, other campaigns will perform incredibly and will bounce each other out. The other way that we will scale a feed-only Performance Max campaign is at a high budget but with a target ROAS. If you're spending anywhere over $100 a day, I would strongly suggest switching to a target ROAS with your feed-only Performance Max. We found that they pace their spend a lot better throughout the day when they are at high budgets if you have a target ROAS as the bidding strategy. So to summarize, if you wanted to spend $250 a day on shopping ads, you can take this one campaign and duplicate it 10 times, running it on max conversion value at $25 a day each. Or you can take one campaign, put it to $250 a day, and then add a target ROAS goal as your bidding strategy. So if you're wanting a 300%, so say a 3x target ROAS, we found that when you use a target ROAS with Performance Max, it typically performs about 25% lower than the target ROAS goal that you give it. Now, when we go back to our campaigns, you will see that we have our branded search campaign for when people are searching for our specific brand. We have our fully built out Performance Max, and we have our feed only Performance Max. Now here's how we view the relationship between these two different types of Performance Max. Because the feed only Performance Max is only allowed to spend on the shopping network, it allows us to bid much more aggressively in order to ensure that we are at the top or close to the top of shopping ads when people are searching for our product. In short, we view our feed only Performance Max as one of our main top of funnel drivers when it comes to shopping ads. The great thing about the fully built out Performance Max is it will show your ads on every possible network that Google can advertise on search, display, discovery, YouTube. So it makes for a great middle and bottom of funnel campaign. Essentially, all of your retargeting is built into that fully built out Performance Max campaign. Now I know you're wondering why we didn't add retargeting audiences into all those asset groups if the main purpose of this campaign is to retarget. But you have to understand the nature of these ad platforms is to go after the lowest hanging fruit, which 9 out of 10 times is retargeting. So with this fully built out campaign, we have found that when you're running a campaign alongside it, such as a feed only Performance Max that drives heavy top of funnel traffic, the fully built out Performance Max will do a great job at getting that person to come back to the website a second, third, fourth, and a fifth time because it's following them on every possible network that Google can advertise on. So essentially you want to view this as your top of funnel, middle and bottom of funnel, and then your branded search is essentially your bottom of funnel as well because it's people that are searching specifically for your brand. Now, just to go back on retargeting audiences, if it makes you feel better, you can add it into the fully built out Performance Max campaign. However, we have not seen a difference in performance whatsoever, and that is with spending tens of thousands of dollars per day on Performance Max campaigns. Hope you learned something new, and we'll see you in the next video.